One of the things I've always loved about the Fallout series is how much of its development history is still buried inside the game itself. But it is not the case with most games. As developers build a world, ideas come and go. Features are added, removed, reworked, and sometimes abandoned entirely. By the time a game finally ships, most of those early concepts have vanished without a trace. Like Halo 2's missing ending or Skyrim's unfinished Civil War content. But every now and then, a game leaves behind a trace, a tiny fragment of something that almost was. The giant footprint is one of my favourite examples of this. If you've never encountered it before, don't worry, most players haven't. It's one of Fallout's rare, special encounters, random events that can occur while travelling across the map. Some players spend years playing Fallout without ever seeing it for themselves, but if you do happen to stumble across it, you'll probably remember it forever. The encounter begins innocently enough. The game informs you that you've discovered a giant footprint in the ground. The footprint is enormous. Whatever left it must have been absolutely massive. Yet, despite its size, there are no additional tracks anywhere nearby or any signs of movement. Inside the footprint are the remains of a human body. Even though the scene is beyond tragedy, if you examine the area, you can find a stealth boy near the unfortunate soul who now identifies as a puddle of goo. If you're traveling with Tycho, he'll look at the scene and offer a warning that's probably worth taking seriously. "I'd stay the hell away from whatever made that," he says. It's a quirky line, but it also highlights the obvious problem. What could possibly have created it? Whatever creature was large enough to leave a footprint of that size should be impossible to miss. Yet there it is, apparently wandering the wasteland without leaving a single other trace of its existence. And that's where the theories begin. For years, players have speculated about what the footprint is supposed to represent. One of the most popular theories is that it's a reference to Godzilla. After all, giant footprints and crushed victims are exactly the sort of imagery you'd expect from classic kaiju films. Others have suggested it might be a nod to Bambi Meets Godzilla, a short animated parody from the late 1960s that became something of a cult classic. Then there are others who believe the footprint was originally meant to lead somewhere. Maybe it was connected to a cut quest. Maybe Fallout once planned to include truly colossal mutated creatures, obviously considerably larger than the already gigantic mutated creatures we encounter throughout the series. Or maybe there was an entire encounter chain that never made it into the final game. These theories persisted for years because the footprint offers so little information to work with. Every detail feels significant. Why place a body inside the track? Why leave behind a stealth boy? Why make the encounter so rare that many players never see it at all? The less Fallout explains, the more room there is for speculation. The real answer, however, is actually more interesting than any fan theory. Because according to Fallout creator Tim Cain, the giant footprint isn't evidence of a hidden creature lurking somewhere in the wasteland. During the early stages of development, Fallout experimented with ideas that would sound completely out of place in the finished game. Among those ideas were time travel and dinosaurs. At one point, the developers considered concepts that would have taken players into Earth's distant past, introducing prehistoric creatures into the Fallout universe. The idea was eventually abandoned as the team narrowed its focus and built the darker, more grounded post-apocalyptic setting we know today. Most traces of those concepts disappeared during development, except our footprint. Unfortunately, that's where the trail largely ends. The giant footprint remains as a surviving fragment from a version of the game that we never got to experience. Tim Cain's explanation tells us where the footprint came from, but it doesn't tell us much about what that earlier version of Fallout actually looked like. We don't know how far the dinosaur concepts progressed. We don't know what form the time travel mechanics would have taken. All we really have are fragments. And in a strange way, that makes the footprint even more compelling. The developers could have removed it. They could have cut the encounter entirely. Instead, they left it there for us to find. A single reminder that Fallout could have been something very different. At this point, I've used the word footprint more times than I care to admit while making this video. Hopefully, I won't have to think about footprints again for a very, very long time. Thanks for watching.